Hello, I'm Pastor Angela Powell, Living Savior at Lutheran Church. I wanted to share a devotion with you this morning, and I hope that it will be a blessing to you as you go throughout your day. I want to read to you from Genesis chapter 25, verses 19 through 34. Jacob and Esau are born. These are the descendants of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham became the father of Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel the Aramean and the sister of Laban the Aramean from Paddan Aram. Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife since she was unable to have children. The Lord was moved by his prayer, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. But the boys pushed against each other inside of her, and she said, "If this is what it's like, why did it happen to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb. Two different peoples will emerge from your body. One people will be stronger than the other. The older will serve the younger." When she reached the end of her pregnancy, she discovered that she had twins. The first came out red all over and clothed with hair, and she named him Esau. Immediately afterward, his brother came out gripping Esau's heel. She named him Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when they were born. When the young men grew up, Esau became an outdoorsman who knew how to hunt, and Jacob became a quiet man who stayed at home. Isaac loved Esau because he enjoyed eating game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once, when Jacob was boiling stew, Esau came in from the field hungry and said to Jacob, "I'm starving. Let me devour some of this red stuff." That's why his name is Edom. Jacob said, "Some of your birthright today." Esau said, "Since I'm going to die anyway from hunger, what good is my birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Give me your word today." And so Esau did. He sold his birthright to Jacob. So Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew. He ate, drank, got up, left, showing just how little he thought of his birthright. And that is our reading for today. I was looking at some commentaries, and I saw this one entitled Ab Uno Multis, from one many. And here in this story, Pastor Dean Feldmeyer talks about how E pluribus unum is the motto of our country, for many one. But he wonders if maybe from one many might not be a better descriptor of how things are today. He talks about two brothers fighting in the Civil War who had immigrated from Scotland in the 1850s. One settled in New York, one settled in Charleston. When the war broke out, each joined the regiment of his area. It was at the Battle of Charleston that they were close to each other in fighting. James, the brother who was with the Confederate army, resolved at a critical time by mounting the parapet unarmed and hurled a log on the advancing Union troops. And Alexander, he had stormed the same parapet that his brother had and had placed a Union flag there and had held his position in the face of musket and cannon fire until he was ordered to withdraw. And so that was so close where the brothers came. One putting up a flag of the other's country, of their own country, and the other ripping it down. And after the battle, one of the brothers wrote to the other and said, "You know, I would discharge my duty for my cause And I assure you, I realize you would discharge your duty for your cause. So in other words, I will kill you over what I believe. It was a tragic and heartbreaking time, and it divided the nation terribly. And to this day, it still divides the nation. Thinking about Confederate monuments that are being ripped down or taken down. It is a difficult thing because those Confederate monuments celebrate a part of history that was divisive and ugly and hurtful. Yes, it's part of our heritage as Southerners. And yes, I had family members that fought in the Confederate War. But it's not right as children of God to allow those things to stand and still divide. You know, the motto of the United States, e pluribus unum, out of many one. But in fact, it feels like from one, many. It feels like more and more of us are not living so much as in the United States of America, Dean Feldmeyer reminds us, as in the divided states of America. Congress cannot even cross the partisan lines for the good of all. The division between the conservatives and the progressives has become so deep that it rips the fabric of our nation apart. To agree on the smallest of points is so difficult. Compromise is seen as a sign of weakness. We each want to defend our own position. We each enter into discussions believing we are right and the other is wrong, and there's no way to even talk about it. And that's not just politics. It's religion. It's gender identity. It's rich and poor. It's caring for the least of these in our society. It's everything. We just can't agree. Division, separation, disagreement, estrangement. There are default settings. We cannot have a civil conversation to try and hear the other person's understanding. And so when you hear this reading, that it seemed that God ordained from the very beginning that these two brothers would be at odds. So why does it surprise us that our country is at odds? Isn't that just the way? You know, and from this story, life goes on for Jacob and Esau. In fact, we don't hear the rest of the story, if you will, when Rebekah overhears Isaac close to death, his eyes dim, his hearing poor, laying in his bed, calling for Esau, saying, "I'm ready to bless you, son," passing on the blessing to the elder son of God. The blessing that God gave to Abraham, that Abraham gave to Isaac, and that Isaac wants to pass on to his oldest, Esau. Rebekah and Jacob plot. Rebekah says to Jacob, "Go, quick, kill an animal, wrap its skin around your forearm, make a stew, and carry it into your father Isaac and tell him that you're there for the blessing." And Jacob does. So not only did he take the birthright, which was the right of inheriting 2/3 of Isaac's wealth, but he then took the blessing from God away from Esau, which was even more sad and angering. You know, God didn't say how the elder would serve the younger. God didn't say which of the sons would be the stronger. God just said there were two within Rebekah. Human maneuvering, human desire for right and might created a situation where people were at odds. And so from that moment on, Esau vowed to kill his brother Jacob. So Jacob left, met his uncle Laban, who was a match in the terms of deception and trickery. And that's a story for another day. But I think what it points out to me is that so often we believe that we are right. We believe that we are the mighty. We being people of light-colored skin who have every advantage in life. And yet, at 20 years past the story of Esau losing his blessing, he and Jacob eventually did meet up. And eventually Esau was a mighty nation, and Jacob was a mighty tribe who had been blessed by God in multitudes of ways. And so I wonder, can we look at each other and see with the eyes of God that we are from the same family? Ishmael and Isaac issued from Abraham and became factions at war. Jacob and Esau issued from Isaac, son of Abraham, and eventually both were blessed by God, becoming like stars in the sky or sand in the desert, becoming numerous, and each in their own way blessed. I think sometimes we need to open our eyes and open the eyes of our hearts to what God is doing in our midst, to how God is calling us to strive and struggle against whatever it is that divides us, so that we might be stronger, so that we might be from many one. A principle our nation was founded on, not from one many. Again, I'm Pastor Angela Powell. I give thanks and pray that you are well this day and that this devotion will be a blessing to you. Bye.